Have you ever looked at, say, a really crowded market or maybe just a pile of data and wondered how some people just see it? The opportunities, the patterns that everyone else seems to miss.
Yeah, like they've got some kind of secret map. It's a great analogy. And
Right.
that's really what we're digging into today. Our mission in this deep dive is to figure out how these true super performers in the stock
The
market,
ones that make those huge runs.
exactly those life-changing advances, how they leave these very specific chart footprints, you could call them, right before they take off. We're focusing particularly on this concept called the IPO base.
Okay, IPO base.
hmm
And the source material we're looking at today, it feels less like just reading an article and more like homework almost, like an assignment designed to train your eye for these things.
Well, that's a perfect way to put it. It's structured to build a kind of master's eye by looking back at historical giants. It's about uncovering the exact clues they left behind.
So it's not about predicting the future then, not trying to use a crystal ball.
No, definitely not. That's the core idea here, actually. The goal isn't prediction, it's recognition. Can you spot the specific signals a really powerful IPO gives off after it's already had its initial run?
Ah, okay. So the real opportunity isn't necessarily day one of the IPO.
According to this study, no. It often comes after that first burst, when the stock settles down and builds a proper consolidation pattern. That's your IPO base.
That's interesting. Recognition over prediction. Wait for the base.
So to hone this skill, the source material points us to some legendary stocks, right? Monster Beverage.
Yep, MNST. Tesla, TSLA.
Google, GOGL.
And Meta, Facebook, Meta. Big names.
Wow. Yeah. Heavy hitters.
But here's the really fascinating part, and a strict instruction in the study. You're told to completely ignore the company names, ignore what they do, ignore the news surrounding them at the time.
Just blank it all out. Why?
It forces discipline. It makes you focus purely on the universal language of the market, just the price and the volume action after they went public. Sheds all the bias. Okay, I get that. Forces objectivity.
Yeah.
So for each of these, what are we actually looking for in that IPO base? What are the clues?
All right, so you break it down. First, you identify the IPO advance. That's the initial run-up, the pop in the first few days or weeks.
Got it. The first move up.
Then you analyze the base structure. How long did it consolidate? Was it like 4 weeks, 10 weeks? And what shape did it take?
Shape, like,
Yeah, was it a clear cup with handle? That U shape with a little dip? Or maybe a VCP volatility contraction pattern where the pullbacks get tighter and tighter?
showing less volatility.
Okay.
Or just a flat sideways move, a flat base.
Exactly. Each tells a slightly different story.
Right.
Then, the base depth. How much did it correct from the high of that first advance down to the low of this base? Was it a 20%, a deeper 40%?
Okay, and then volume comes in.
Critically, the volume signature. You look for volume drying up significantly right before the breakout, like becoming deathly quiet.
Well-
It signals that the sellers, the supply, has basically vanished. People are holding, not selling anymore. It's a key setup.
Makes sense. No sellers left. Then what?
Then you pinpoint the pivot point. That's the exact resistance level, the price that, once broken, triggers the breakout. Your theoretical entry point.
The trigger, and when it breaks that pivot.
You need the breakout volume. Was the volume on that breakout day just massive? A huge surge, like 200%, 500%, maybe even 1,000% of the average daily volume.
Wow, okay, so not just a little increase.
Yeah,
A statement.
absolutely. It confirms institutional buying, big players stepping in. It's essential. And finally, risk management, the stop loss. Where's the logical place?
Just below the lowest point of that base pattern.
Precisely, the absolute low of the IPO base.
Yeah.
That's your safety net, your point where you say, okay, the pattern failed.
So walking through all those steps
Yeah.
it's incredibly detailed. Why should someone listening care about this? Even if they, never plan to trade stocks.
Well, because it's a fantastic example of something much bigger, isn't it? It shows how structured, disciplined observation of data, any data, really, not just stocks, can reveal these huge underlying trends and opportunities.
Right. It's about learning to see the footprints, like you said earlier, that lead to major shifts or advances, whether it's in markets, technology, culture, anywhere.
It really underscores the power of recognizing patterns, analyzing things carefully instead of just reacting or trying to predict randomly.
Yeah.
The IPO base gives you a clear framework based on observation.
Okay, so that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. If this kind of focused, structured analysis can reveal so much in stock charts, where else could you apply it? What other areas of your life or what other kinds of data might hold powerful insights if you learn to look for the patterns instead of just chasing headlines or making guesses? Where else could you develop your own master's eye?